Hi, my name is Nico Ternant. I'm the creative director and a surf instructor here at the Gilded Iguana Surf Club. I'd like to take some time today and talk about ocean safety, how we can be as safe as possible on our beaches here in Costa Rica, as well as how we can be as safe as possible on beaches throughout the entire world. Let's start out by talking about rip currents. These are some of the most common and dangerous currents we experience on our beaches. The reason that these currents form is the byproduct of multiple waves crashing and breaking towards the shore. As these waves break towards the shore here, there's more and more water that rushes in. As the water rushes in, it becomes trapped in between the breaking waves and the sand and needs to find a place to escape back into the ocean. These places where the water is escaping back into the ocean, these are rip currents. So as you can see here, I've drawn out an example of a wave breaking towards the left side of the beach, as well as a peak breaking towards the right side of the beach. Okay? As these waves break and the water rushes inside, it's going to need to escape out to the left and out to the right. As I was saying, these escape routes are in fact the rip currents. As a swimmer or a surfer, if you find yourself trapped inside of this zone here, in between two breaking waves, you may experience the water begin to pull you back out to sea. This is a very normal thing, and it's because you're inside of a rip current. The best course of action is going to be to swim to the left or to the right to try to free yourself of this rip current. Trying to swim directly towards shore is going to be the absolute worst option because that is where the current is the most strong. Right here in the middle of this highway is where the current is the most strong. So what we want to do is try to get ourselves out of this highway to either the left or the right. Once we're out of the highway, then we're going to want to start to swim back towards shore, okay? So if you do find yourself, just to recap here, if you do find yourself swimming and you start to feel like you're being pulled out, swim left or swim to the right, parallel along the shoreline, and then come in towards shore. Definitely do not try and fight the current here in the middle of the highway. So as you're swimming to the left or to the right to try to free yourself from the rip current, try to stay calm, okay? The worst thing you can do is start to really freak out and have an anxiety attack. You want to conserve your energy and you want to keep your breath under control, okay? The second thing you can try to do is to try to swim on your back. Swimming on your back is going to conserve the most energy, allow you to breathe the easiest, and it's also it's a way to rest. Okay, so if you're really kind of giving a 5 or 10 minute freestyle, give yourself a 2 or 3 minute rest while still making a little bit of headway on your back. Okay, so if you don't know how to swim on your back, I'm going to make another video. And I will actually put that in the description below so that you can reference that. But that's going to be a very big skill to get out of these rip currents safely and calmly. Okay, the next topic I'm going to touch on will be side currents. These are slightly less dangerous than rip currents, but still pose a threat to you as a surfer or swimmer here at Playa Guiones, as well as many other beaches around the world. To sum up, side currents are current pushing you either right or left as soon as you enter the water. Usually these currents correspond with how the swells are moving, okay? Usually when waves come and break on the beach, the energy, the source of the energy is not perfectly perpendicular to the beach. Usually the source of the energy is coming from an angle, okay? Maybe it's coming from the north, up here. Maybe it's coming more from the south, here. But this angle of energy and of swell is what's going to determine where the side current is. Okay? If we have a swell, a source of energy that's pushing from the south to the north, like this, there's a good chance that we're going to experience a right-hand side current on the beach, okay? And that's because, as you see, we have a generalized energy moving from left to right, okay? So this is something to note and to keep in your head before you go swimming. And you might think that, oh, if I get in here and I drift, call it 30 meters, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, right, it's not, as long as there are no rocks or reef or a pier, for instance. You have to keep in mind, what are the obstacles around me? Is this entire stretch of beach sandy bottom, or are there portions that have reef and rock bottom? Okay, so this is something to really keep in your head, and before you go surf, ask yourself, one, where is the energy coming from? Where will it be pushing me? Is it going to be left to right or right to left? And then if I do get pushed in a certain direction, will I be okay? Are those sections of beach that I'll be pushed into, are those sections sandy? Are they rocky? If I get pushed real far, will I even be able to actually get out of the water? Or maybe there's going to be, over here, this could be a cliffside in which you can't even exit the water. And you could potentially get tired, fatigued, and get stuck right in this zone and end up drowning like that. So that's something that is very risky. And this is, the side current is something that needs to be thought of with a little bit more intensity. Not many people are thinking of this, and this is something that can really save you. Out here at Playa Guiones, I personally see a lot of surfers, beginner surfers, getting pushed from left to right. In this zone up here at the north end of the beach, we have a bunch of rocks and reef and cliff sides. And this is a really dangerous zone. So I see a lot of surfers getting sucked down and pushed into this area. When I see it, I'll direct them to come back to shore. But this can be a very quick thing that can happen to you. So the last point on side current is make a note when you get into the water. If you're getting in the water in this zone, try to find a landmark on the beach that you can keep your eye on, so that when you paddle out, if you do start to drift, now you have your eye on this landmark. You know that you're moving to the right. So now that you know you're moving right, you can look even further and project, okay, what's over here? Is this safe? Is this area dangerous? Being that now I know I'm traveling to the right, you can make a better judgment call as to how to stay safe. If you are moving to the right, and there is cliffs, and there is reef and rock, then the best course of action is when you get close, you're going to want to paddle back to shore. Once you're here, you can walk all the way back to where you started, or you can even walk further to compensate for this side current. That way you can get back into the water and have one big drift and not even worry about the rocks that are down here on the north side of the beach. So this is something that you guys need to be thinking about, and is going to keep you safer here at Playa Guiones, as well as our surrounding beaches in Nosara and the rest of the world. I'm going to touch on a few more topics here relating to ocean safety. This next one relates to the surfer's leash, and I want you to just think about what would happen if your leash broke and there's really big waves and very high current. Ask yourself, would I be able to swim out of this if I did not have my surfboard? So this is the question that I want you to start to ask more as you're surfing, and especially as you start to surf in more heavy conditions and higher current. you need to always stay within that limit of I can swim in if I lose my board, because there's no guarantee that you have your surfboard. If a big wave comes, your leash can easily snap, and you really need to prepare for that worst case scenario, because if you don't, you're out there, you're in over your head, so to speak, and your leash snaps, and now you don't have the ability to swim in. Well, guess what? There's a good chance you're actually going to drown, and that's not going to be good for you, your family, or for anyone on the beach to witness. So in order to prevent this from happening, I'd like to see you thinking about what would happen if my leash snapped right now. If the answer is I would barely make it in, or I don't know if I would make it in if my leash snapped, then you should probably get out of the waves and stop surfing. And this is to quite literally keep you safe and to keep you alive. So this is something that not as many people think about and not as many people train for, because we have these leashes and these tools to keep the boards near us. But you always need to plan for that worst case scenario and really keep that in the back of your head. The last item that I'm going to touch on today is in relation to swimming past waist deep, okay? I touched on this earlier in the video, but I strongly urge you not to swim or surf past waist deep unless you're a strong swimmer, okay? Even if you have a board, it does not guarantee your safety. The board helps you, it gives you a strong flotation device so that it aids you in swimming, but there's no guarantee that that board is going to stay with you. So if you're a weak swimmer, I do not recommend you swimming or surfing past waist deep here in Playa Guiones, okay? This is something that if people that are weak swimmers don't go past waist deep, it'll save hundreds of lives, okay? This is how most people drown, and this one rule of not swimming past waist deep, or not even going past waist deep at all, unless you have a certain level of swimmability, I think if that rule is followed, then 90 to 95% of drowning cases would be eliminated right there. So with that, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something from this video.